Hello. Hey friends, we are on lesson 36. First direction says draw an 82 millimeter line segment. So millimeters, we talked yesterday, are on the centimeter side of our ruler, on the side with the smaller measurements, and the millimeters are the tiniest marks on the centimeter side. There's 10 of them in every centimeter. So if there's 10, and we're going 82 millimeters, if there's 10 in every centimeter, then 8 centimeters is going to be 80 millimeters, and then we need to go another 2 little millimeters. And we're going to connect. And the next one says measure this line segment in millimeters. So measuring line on the dot. And I can see 8 centimeters, that means 80 millimeters, plus 5, 6, 7, 8. 88 millimeters. Number 1. Nicholas drinks 2 glasses of milk each morning and 2 glasses of milk each evening. How many glasses of milk will he drink in 1 week? So, he drinks 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. So how many does he drink in one day? If he has 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, in one day he has 4, right? So I'm going to write up here for myself 4 equals 1 day. Now, the question is how many days are in a week? Because they're asking about a week, not a day. And there are 7 days in a week, right? So he has 4 every day, and he does that for 7 days. So that means he has 4 glasses of milk every day for 7 days, 7 groups of 4. So we're going to multiply. And when we do times 4, the easiest way to do it in our head is to double. So that means whatever we're multiplying by 4, we double. 7 plus 7, that's 14. And then we double 14. And if you can't picture that in your head, it would be 14, 14. 4 plus 4 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 4 times 7 is 28. 28, and what were we counting again? How many glasses of milk? So he drinks 28 glasses every week. Number 2. Use words to write the time shown on the clock in 3 different ways. Now, I showed you yesterday this little guy right here on page 10. Okay, so I can see the big hand is pointing to the 9, right? And the little hand is past the 6, but it's not to the 7 yet. It's almost to the 7. So it's almost 7 o'clock. It's 6 something. So 3 different ways we could say this time when the minute hand is on the 9 is quarter to, quarter till or until, or quarter before. Those are 3 different ways we can write it. And all of those are going to end with 7 because it's almost 7 o'clock on this clock, right? Almost 7. So we're talking about the next hour. It's quarter to the next hour. It's quarter to 7. So that's going to be our first one. Quarter to 7. I'm gonna see which one they ask about. Okay. Quarter to 7. Another way to write it was quarter until 7. And another way to write it was quarter before 7. That's 3 different ways to say that time right there. Now, I'm just gonna sneak ahead real quick and tell you on side B, they're doing 15 minutes after the hour, which looks like it's 9 o'clock. 15 minutes after 9 o'clock. So, look real quick on here because I know you might not have this at home. We say quarter again because it's a quarter of the clock, a fourth of the clock. And we say quarter past or quarter after when it's right at the 3. Quarter past, quarter after. Okay, so if you forget when you get to side B, rewind this video and look real quick. Okay, side A. Write this using words. So how do we read this number? 482. If you need to Google the spelling on this, go ahead. If you can come close on it, I'll mark it right, okay? 400. A lot of writing on this one today. 80. This kind of 8 starts with the EI. 82. And that's a TWO2. Okay? 482. What is the place value of the digit 4? Now they're not asking the value, they're asking the place value. So what place is it in? 2 is in the ones place. Ones, tens, hundreds, right? That's why we say 400. It's in the hundreds place. What is the value of the digit 8? 8 is in the ones, tens. Oh wait, it says value. Oh, okay, so the 8, since it's in the tens place, it's not worth 8, it's actually worth 8 times 10. It's worth 80, right? That's why we say 82. Number 4. Draw points on the number line to show where each number is located. Use a capital letter to label each point. So, I don't know if we've done this yet, I can't remember. The way we do it is we figure out about, we have to estimate a little, about where 28 would be. So when I'm counting, if I were counting all these numbers that are in between these groups of 10, 28 would be right between the 20 and the 30, because between 20 and 30 is where I say all the 20 numbers, right? Like 21, 22, 23, and this is 28. So exactly halfway between the 20 and the 30 is 25. And that's not to 28 yet, so 28 is going to be a little closer to 30. So we're going to put a point, and we're going to label it A. Let's do it again. B is 51. So 40, 50, 51 is going to be right after that. It's the next number. So it can't be right on the 50, it's got to be right next to it. And that is point B. Point C, 85. Now, 70, 80, 90. So between 80 and 90, that's where I say all my 80 numbers, right? Like 81, 82, 83, 85, 84, 85. And 85 is exactly halfway between 80 and 90. Label it C. Last one, D. 8, that we go all the way back again. Where would we put number 8? It's smaller than 10, right? It's between 0 and 10. And remember, exactly halfway is 5. So it is a little closer to the 10. And we label it D. All right. Now we're going to round. Can't remember how long it's been since you did this, so I'm going to get out the little rounding tool again. I think you used this with me last year. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, remember this? So, we're rounding 28 first, and I don't have a dry erase marker here. So we're gonna do our best with some scratch paper. Okay, so we're doing a number 28. So what I used to do is I put 28 in the middle, and then I see what 10 is before it and what 10 is after it. And we're gonna choose between those, okay? So, I'm guessing I can just write on here and I'll be able to take it off. 28, okay? So when I'm counting to 28, 28 is between 20 and 30, isn't it? It's between 20 and 30. So those are the two that I'm deciding between. And if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I look at the 1 spot and I decide 5 and greater goes this way. And if it isn't great up to 5 yet, it goes back to this way. So 8 is greater than 5, isn't it? 5 and greater goes this way. So when we're rounding 28, the closest 10 is 30. Okay, so picture that roller coaster again. 51, we're gonna look at the 1 to decide. And we're deciding between 50 and the next one up is 60. And remember, the top of the roller coaster, there's a 5. And 5 and greater goes to 60. And not less than 5 goes back to 50. 1 is much less than 5, isn't it? It goes back to 50. 85, we look at the 5 and we decide, does it go to 80 or does it go up to 90? Because 85 is between 80 and 90. And remember, the 5 is at the top of the roller coaster, and if it's 5 or greater, it goes down to 90. Last one, 8. This is a little bit tricky because the two 10s that 8 is between, one of them is not actually a 10. 8 is between 0 and 10 if we're counting by 10s, right? Because 0 is where we start when we count by anything. So 8 is at the top of the roller coaster. Is it greater than 5 or is it less than 5? 5 or greater goes down to 10. All right. Okay, so I'm going to tell you when we're using, let me see which ones are going to go over. When we're using these terms here, I'm going to write them down, but if you need to Google them when you're doing your work, you can certainly do that now. A decade. 1 decade is 10 years. I'm going to abbreviate years there. 1 decade is 10 years. 1 millennium, I'm going to abbreviate it because I'm not leaving myself enough room, equals 1,000 years. 1 century, cent equals 100 years. That's also why there's 100 cents in a dollar, because it means 100. And then we have decade again. Okay, so how many years are in 2 decades? Well, if 1 decade is 10 years, then 2 decades is 2 tens. What is that? 20 years. How many decades are in 3 millennium? 1 millennium is 1,000 years. 3 millennium is 3 times this. 3 1,000s. 3,000. What will be the year 1 century from today? So the year is, let's do it over here. The year is 2020. 1 century from today means add on 100 years, 1 century. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. 0 plus 1 is 1. And 2 plus 0 is 2. So the year in 1 century is going to be 2,120. Can you imagine some of the babies born this year are going to live to see that year? That seems like so far away. What was the year 1 decade ago? Now a decade is, a decade is 10 years. And since it says 1 decade ago, we're gonna back up 10 years. So I'm gonna do scratch work over here again. The year is 2020. We're gonna back up, so we're gonna subtract 10 years. 0 take away 0 is 0. 2 take away 1 is 1. 0 and 2. So 10 years ago, the year was 2010. Okay. Couple more at the bottom here. 4 times 100. 4 times 100, 100, 200, 300, 400. Now, the trick to these is you can take these zeros and move them on the back of this number. You can only do it with numbers like 100 and 1,000 and 10. So let's practice doing that. We took the zeros, put them on the back of the 4, and we got 400. Let's go down here, take these 3 zeros, put them on the back of the 37. Also, this only works when it's a 1,000 or a 100, okay? Zeros, put them on the back of the 37. Then we have 37 with 3 zeros. And we go 1, 2, 3, comma. 37,000. Take these 3 zeros, put them on the back of the 93. We get 93, 0, 0, 0, comma. Take these 2 zeros, put them on the 18. We get 18, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, comma. Take this 1 0, put it on the back of the 65. We have 6, 5 with a 0, 650. Last one. Take this 1 0, and even though there's a 0 here, you're going to take this one, because this one is the one that has a 1 with a 0. Put it on the back of the 90, so then we have 90 with another 0. 900. Once you learn to do these, it's a super easy trick. You can only do it if it starts with a 1 and has all zeros afterward. Okay? Have a great night.